Good morning. My name is Amber Auding. I'm Communications Manager for Water Utilities. I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning at our award-winning water quality treatment plant for the Coastal Bend region. It's through the curves and the winding turns of the Nueces River that our combined sources of Choke Canyon Reservoir and Lake Corpus Christi, along with the lower Colorado River and Lake Texana feeding through Mary Roads Pipeline 1 and 2, that our water supply comes together right here. Eventually, with engineering and pure resourcefulness and ingenuity, what you see here on the map is an end result that you also see in your drinking glass. And as you'll experience this morning, Owen Stevens Water Treatment Plant is crucial to the safety of our public drinking water. Operations will continue even during a news conference with media present and our distinguished guests without a blip. So in advance, we're gracious for your patience and your adaptiveness. This morning, we are joined by Mayor Joe McComb, Council Member at Large and Mayor-elect Paulette Guajardo, and Council Member Ben Molina. We also have with us Mallory Lightsey of the San Patricio Municipal Water District, our city staff, and of course, our partners in the media. Today, the City of Corpus Christi will be providing an update on combined lake levels at Choke Canyon Reservoir and Lake Corpus Christi. You'll hear from our Water Resource Manager, Esteban Steve Ramos, and Corpus Christi City Manager, Peter Zanoni. Together, their briefing should take around 20 minutes. So because we are on a secured facility, we require all guests stay within the area that you are now and refrain from filming or photographing the plant's operations, please. As evidenced, we are observing social distancing and best practice COVID-19 protocol. Following Mr. Ramos and Mr. Zanoni's remarks, we will provide Spanish translation, and we will also provide a Q&A for our media that is present today. So right now, I'm going to turn the podium over to Mr. Ramos so that we can begin our briefing.
Thank you, Amber. Good morning. My name is Esteban Ramos. I'm the Water Resource Manager, Water Utilities. My team is responsible for monitoring the combined lake levels at Choke Canyon Reservoir and Lake Corpus Christi. As you can see on the map, we actually have 4 sources of water: Choke Canyon, Lake Corpus Christi, Lake Texana, and the lower Colorado River. Per our council-approved drought contingency plan, we base our response on the combined lake levels of Choke Canyon Reservoir and Lake Corpus Christi. When combined lake levels at these 2 water sources fall below 40%, that triggers a stage 1 drought response. This response guides us to cut back on our demand and conserve more water. You might be asking yourself, if our combined lake levels are low, why don't we just pull more water through the Mary Roads pipeline and avoid a stage 1 response altogether? Switching out our water supply and rushing to another source would take away the fact that we're in a drought. It ignores the situation. We rely on rainfall to replenish what we use, and in order to sustain our water supply, we must cut back until we receive more rain to replenish our demand. That is why we have a drought contingency plan. The plan holds us accountable when the climate and the weather are not on our side. Now I'd like to turn the podium over to City Manager Peter Zanoni.
Thank you, Esteban. Good morning, everybody. All right, well, let me begin by letting this train go by. Okay, I want to begin by talking about the mission of the water department. We don't always hear it. In fact, I read it for the first time preparing for today. But I want to read it to you because it sounds pretty impressive and it's pretty on point. So the mission of this department that makes water for over 500,000 customers in 7 different counties in South Texas is to provide clean and quality water and wastewater services that respect our environment and that our customers can depend on. That's a pretty cool mission, right? It talks about the environment and the customer and dependable clean water, and that's what we're all about up here at this treatment plant, at Owen Stevens Treatment Plant. There's several staff members that are here this morning with us, including our production manager and assistant manager, and it's a dedicated team of this treatment plant that provides water for our region. However, when we don't have rain and we have a lot of wind like today, our water turns into a scarcity, right? And Esteban talked about the water plan that we have. That's a city council approved document. Right here. This is city council approved drought contingency plan. In fact, Corpus Christi was the first city in the state to have a plan of all the water providers in the state of Texas. That was back in the 80s, Amber. And then following that, other cities like San Antonio and Austin and Dallas, they developed a plan as well. So we're guided this morning by city council approved policy. And what that policy says is that when our reservoir and lake levels drop below 40%, we have to declare a stage 1 drought contingency plan and put steps in action. And so I'm here to tell you this morning that officially our levels at Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon are below 40%. This morning they're reading at 39.8%, which is below that 40%. And so effective immediately, as the drought contingency plan states, the city manager, or myself, am declaring a stage 1 drought situation for the city of Corpus Christi. So what this means, I'm going to go over it real quick here with you, but a lot of this will be online, will be on public service announcements, it'll be on messages, it'll be on social media. That's part of our work, is to have transparent and open communication with the public. But the primary thing is that if you do landscape irrigation, that's limited now to 1 day a week. So today you can irrigate your yard or your landscaping as many times as you want in the week, but because of this drought that we're in, one day a week, and not after 10 o'clock in the morning, and you have to wait till 6 o'clock at night to do that, right? So that's one of the biggest things. And when you'll do it is based on your trash collection day. And so whenever you put your garbage and recycling out, that's the day you can water. If you're a commercial customer, you don't get the city's collection, right? But you can find out what your day would be by going online, or you could just observe what's going on in your immediate neighborhood. You'll see the cans being put out. So hand watering is allowed. You can hand water your grass or your landscaping any time of day. Watering the home foundation, we know that's important in this dry time, but that is allowed also just once a week, and that'll fall on the day that you have your irrigation allowed. During stage 1, commercial car washes and landscape nurseries, they will have no impact. Okay, that'll take place in a stage 2 impact. So car washes and commercial nurseries, no impact. Okay, so let's talk about enforcement, right? Because we know that we have a great community, and we know that not only do we have some pretty strong corporate partners out there, but we know our residents know how to step up to the plate. We could see that during the COVID pandemic, where time and time again they did what we asked them to do to keep the community safe. But we will be enforcing this, and so our goal initially is to help educate, right? It's to be an educator and remind the community about what situation we're in. However, the drought contingency plan does have a fine ability, and it's up to $500 fine per incident per day. So the wife could turn the irrigation system on, and the husband could, and they could both get fined in one day, right? So up to $500 per incident per day is the fine. But again, our goal is to help educate. We're not out there to write people tickets, but we do want the community to know there are enforcement actions, and this is pretty serious business. We're talking about drought. We're talking about we need to conserve the water that we have today. And so we're doing this for the long run, and we want people, citizens in the corporate world to follow these guidelines. All right. Now, do we have any golfers out there, Mayor? We do have a few. Okay, so we do have two golf courses that are city-owned, right? The Oso and the Lozano Golf Center. You're going to notice that their greens are still pretty green through this drought period. The reason is that they use recycled water from two of our waste treatment plants, which is a great thing. And so the drought stage 1 situation that I just put us in right now does not have any impact on the use of reuse water. And so the golf courses can continue to water as they do today, and you'll see that those greens are going to continue to be green. We thought that'd be important to point out here so people don't think that there's some favoritism going on or something of that nature. We did call the golf operators on Friday to let them know, and they were glad to hear this, and they're glad to continue operating those. So now you guys have looked at the forecast, I'm sure, as well, right? And we expect rain on Wednesday and then again on Saturday from passing cold fronts. We did, though, on Saturday have a good half-hour WebEx with local staff from our National Weather Service. They're located here at the International Airport. Melissa is their lead there. And what she pointed out is that we may get a couple drops of rain. I think it's a 30 to 50% chance on Wednesday. But that is no way going to take us out of the drought situation that we're in. Right now we're below that 40% threshold. The rain that may come on Wednesday will not get us out of it, is her prediction. And the key thing to know is that the drought has been going on. Right now at the reservoir and the lake areas, we're about 2 inches below normal. Down here in Corpus Christi, we're about 5 inches below normal. So it's going to take some pretty long and hard and continuous rain events to bring us out of these. So don't get fooled by what we may see on Wednesday or again on Saturday, which are passing showers, if we even get them. One other thing to point out is that the last time this happened to the city was back in June of 2018. So about 3 years ago, a little less than 3 years ago. When we declared a stage 1 then, it took us 3 months to get out of that. We declared it in June, and it was September before we got out. Okay, so this is something that is probably going to be for the long run, the next couple of months. The National Weather Service projects that we'll be in this drought situation for at least 3 months. It's in part because of La Nina, the weather pattern. And then at the end of those 3 months, we're really not clear as to what will happen. It's kind of neutral, so it could continue even further. The other thing we do know that, but one thing we don't know is when it will rain beyond this week, right? And we don't know how much it will rain. So it's important to follow our guidelines, look at our website, and continue to observe what we put out. There'll be a lot of material that'll be put out. This is just the beginning of our conversation with the community today, so we thank you for being here. After we leave here, we'll be at City Hall sending out several correspondences, updating our websites, all the materials ready to go, talking to our large water providers. We're appreciative of Sam Pat being here this morning, San Patricia Water District. We have a lot of persons to educate, right? Over 500,000 customers in 7 counties. And so today is the beginning of educating the community that we're officially in stage 1 drought condition. So with that, Amber, am I turning it back over to you?
I'll call up Gabby for translation for our Spanish-speaking audience.
La ciudad de Corpus Christi cuenta con 4 fuentes de agua: Chow Canyon, Lake Corpus Christi, Lake Texana y el río Colorado. Según nuestro plan de contingencia de sequía aprobado por el Consejo Municipal, basamos nuestra respuesta en los niveles combinados de los lagos de Chow Canyon y Lake Corpus Christi. Cuando los niveles combinados de los lagos están por debajo del 40%, comienza una respuesta a la sequía de etapa 1. Esta respuesta nos guía a reducir nuestra demanda y conservar más agua. Cambiar nuestro suministro de agua y utilizar otra fuente no va a eliminar el hecho de que estamos en una sequía. Dependemos de la lluvia para reponer lo que usamos, y para mantener nuestro suministro de agua debemos reducir hasta que recibamos más lluvia para reponer nuestra demanda. Esta mañana los niveles combinados del lago es de 39.8%. Durante la etapa 1 por sequía, todos los usuarios de agua proveniente de la ciudad de Corpus Christi deben de saber lo siguiente. Se permite el riego de jardines un día a la semana. Su día de riego caerá el mismo día que su día de recolección de basura. O puede visitar el portal www.cctejas.com/conserve, donde encontrará más detalles. Se permite el riego de jardines entre las 6 de la tarde y las 10 de la mañana. Se permite regar a mano su jardín en cualquier momento. Se permite regar los cimientos de una propiedad usando el mismo horario de recolección de la basura. El riego de los cimientos de la casa se puede hacer con una manguera de mano o con riego por goteo. Durante la etapa 1 no se ven afectados los lavaautos ni los viveros. El no cumplir con estas regulaciones puede recibir una notificación durante la primera infracción, seguida por una multa de hasta $500. Los empleados de todas las instalaciones de la ciudad han sido notificados, por lo que el personal del ayuntamiento también será responsable de hacer su parte. Los campos de golf Lozano y Oso Beach utilizan agua reciclada, por lo que están exceptas de estas restricciones. De acuerdo a las predicciones del Servicio Nacional de Meteorología, la sequía indica que estaremos bajo estas condiciones hasta al menos el 1 de abril del 2021. La última sequía de etapa 1 iniciada en Corpus Christi fue en junio del 2018, la cual no se suspendió sino hasta septiembre de ese mismo año. Debemos ser conscientes de la cantidad de agua que usamos, esto para que podamos aprovechar el agua que nos queda durante el mayor tiempo posible para satisfacer nuestras necesidades. Recuerde más información, puede visitarla en el portal www.cctejas.com/conserve. Le quiero recordar que las medidas de conservación de agua entran en vigor de manera inmediata.
Thank you, Gabriela. Thank you to our city manager, Peter Zanoni, and to Steve Ramos as well. So I have with us today, for our local partners in the media, of course, our city manager, Peter Zanoni, Esteban Steve Ramos, as well as our assistant director of water quality and treatment, Gabriel Ramirez, available to answer questions for you. So our first question, do we have any questions from the media? Go ahead. Sure. Steve.
Let me answer your question this way. Pertaining to the number of times this has happened, the community understands that we live in a dry area. Our watershed, again, is to the west and east of us, along the Nueces River, going towards the Laredo area. We need the rainfall to happen in that area. Time to time, rain will happen here in the city of Corpus Christi, but does not make it to our watershed. So we just need rain. We need rain in the right places. The community understands, and we've lived through droughts in the past. This is something that the citizens feel that it's very important to us, our water supply. Water is the lifeblood of any city, and with it comes growth and opportunity to move to the future. The city of Corpus Christi spends a lot of time monitoring and updating our water system and our water supply. We need to continue to look towards the future as our city grows and our community grows to provide for that water supply. Again, it is the lifeblood of our community. We are on the edge of what they used to call the wild horse desert. We've turned this beautiful land into an area where we all can live and strive and move towards the future. Water is that lifeblood. And with that, these droughts come and they will go and they'll come back again. But we need to be resilient in our actions and our attitude to our water supply. Water has always been something that when it is not there, people tend to yell the most and want to move the fastest. But when it's there, people tend to forget about it. We need not to forget about our water supply and where it comes from and what we need to do on a daily basis to contribute to that. So again, the community has lived through droughts in the past, will continue to live through these types of droughts. We need to be a community and work together to get through this again. Thank you very much.
I'll follow that up. Our last substantial drought on record was in 2011, and our last stage 1 drought was in 2018. There are 4 stages on the drought. That can be found at cctexas.com/conserve of what those 4 stages require in terms of restrictions and what the lake levels are for each of those stages. Next question. Hearing none, this concludes our news conference for today. Thank you all for coming. Be safe, and we wish you a very happy and prosperous new year. Thank you.